Greetings fam, hope you're doing great, and if you're curious about Apple's decidedly buzzworthy MacBook Neo, this one's for you. I've researched this laptop across Apple's official specs and every major review out there to give you a straight answer on whether it deserves your attention, and yes, if you want pricing or deals, click the link in bio once you're done watching. At first glance, the MacBook Neo is a bold move from Apple. A sub-$600 laptop built into the Mac ecosystem with a 13-inch Liquid Retina display, the A18 Pro chip, and all-day battery life up to around 16 hours according to both Apple and independent tests. It's the cheapest full-fledged MacBook Apple has released, and on paper it looks like a friendly entry point for students, families, and everyday users alike. I dug into the specs and hands-on feedback from reviewers and users, and the basics check out. Solid aluminum build, a colorful screen with 500 nits brightness, crisp 1080p FaceTime HD camera, good sounding speakers with spatial audio, and macOS Tahoe running smoothly on the A18 Pro chip. People are saying it handles everyday tasks, browsing, streaming, Word documents, without hiccups. Battery life has been surprisingly strong too. Independent tests clocked it past 13 hours in real-world use, which means you can get through a full work or class day without scrambling for a charger. A rare strength at this price point. That efficiency comes from using the A-series chip designed originally for iPhones, so Apple has leaned into smartphone silicon to keep power usage low and performance respectable. Now, even with all that good stuff, there are real limitations you can't ignore. The base model only ships with 8 GB of unified memory, and it's not upgradable. That's a big constraint in 2026, especially if you multitask a lot or plan to keep the laptop for years. Reviews also point out other compromises like no backlit keyboard, no MagSafe charging, and only one USB-C port with USB 3 speeds. The other is slower USB 2. The display supports sRGB but not the wider P3 gamut, and that matters to creative pros. Comparing it to other Macs, you also won't get Thunderbolt ports or Touch ID on the base 256GB model. That's reserved for the more expensive 512GB version. Some tech fans argue older MacBook Airs with more RAM might give more versatility for the price if you stretch your budget. But the flip side is this laptop runs silent, fanless, has decent speakers, and is much more affordable than past Macs. I also looked at what everyday users are saying, and it's telling. People who bought the Neo say it really does feel like a full MacBook for tasks like school work, web apps, and media. It isn't a powerhouse for video editing or heavy coding, but for most day-to-day stuff it's surprisingly capable. There's also chatter in forums that if you mainly do light tasks, 8 GB feels enough, but power users definitely want more. So, is the MacBook Neo worth buying? If you're after a genuinely usable Mac experience at a price far lower than Apple's usual laptops, and you mostly do everyday tasks, the answer is yes. You're still getting good battery life, solid performance, macOS integration, and an overall premium feel. But if you need heavy multitasking, advanced color work, or future-proof specs, it might be worth spending a bit more. Click the link below for the best price.